Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into some content with the new Carrot and Wonder, the Sugo Fest exclusive that has released for the end of the 10.5 anniversary. Coming for the end of month batch, this character makes a lot of sense. However, it came alongside Odin, Kinua Dendro, who's another anniversary exclusive, which just doesn't really make that much sense to me. We're going back to Wano, which again, doesn't make that much sense to me, but I guess with the anime being on hiatus for like the next 6 months, I guess they kind of have to sort of clutch at straws, but like they've still got so much egghead stuff they can do, so I don't really understand what they're doing with this particular unit. When this first unit first got released, and their information was first leaked, I was actually pretty excited for what this character was actually doing. It looked like we were going to get another Carrot in the game, another Sulong, Neko, or Inu, in terms of bypassing defensive effects, getting lots of cooldowns, being really fast in content, and this character does satisfy that condition a little bit, but it does have a major drawback in the sense that when you use them as a captain in their single forms, you have to be above 85% HP to get the effects ignoring defensive effects, or the attacks ignoring defensive effects, I should say. So unlike Gear 5, 6 star, who can just bypass them after you use EX, unlike Carrot, who can just do it for the first 12 turns, and unlike Sulong, Cat, and Dog, the super class and super type Sugo Fest exclusives, this particular character needs to be above 85%. And that is a huge drawback, like a massive drawback. And you might think it's dumb, but if you don't lose HP, like what's the problem? Well, as a captain, they reduce your HP by 10% every single turn. And if you run 2 of them, that's a 20% HP cut every single turn. Now, it's not exactly 20%, it's like 19%, because like once you go down to 90%, it's 10% of the 90%. So it ends up being about 19%, and then obviously that just gets less and less and less every single turn. But still, this is like a massive problem, because you want to be above 85% HP to bypass damage reduction, barriers, threshold, all of those really nasty effects, which this character would be normally very good for. But they do have an ability to heal. You can use their switch to heal 5% of your HP every single turn. So this does make up for a little bit of that HP cutting shenaniganry that you get, and obviously with stuff like Captain Shift now, you can shift them into Captain whenever you need them to be, unlike Carrot, who becomes Captain for 3 turns. Like obviously you can just use the Captain Shift, and then you just bring them in, and you can make them 10 turns Captain if you're using Roger Rayleigh Gaban, you can make them 3 turns Captain if you're using Odin, Kinua Dendro. So you can do some fun stuff that way, and that's probably the best way this character is going to shine, which I'll show you that at the end of the video when we go into PKA. But other than that, if you're running them as Captain, they do lose a lot of their effectiveness with this 10% HP cut. Overall, though, they are a pretty solid captain. They boost they boost fighters and slashers. They give cooldowns at the start of the quest, so they do have some pretty nice stuff in their kit. But the big ability is obviously they are getting that ability to bypass damage reduction and threshold with normal attacks. That's pretty much the big reason you'd want to be utilizing the character. Now, they do have a switch ability as well, being a dual unit. They give a 1.5 orb boost, which is overrideable every time you switch. Oh no, it's not overrideable. It's just a regular 1.5 times orb boost. And they give themselves a matching orb plus that 5% heal. They have a super switch ability though, which does put them in their dual form for 1 turn, and it gives you a 2 times orb boost to fighters and slashers, I believe, or maybe it's 2 times orb boost to fighters and slashers. Or is it just slashes? It looks like it's just slashes. But then they give themselves a 1 orb and a 10% heal, or 15% heal actually. So that 15% heal helps out a lot, but you do need 5 switches to actually get there. And this is pretty problematic, because trying to get to the 5 switches can take a little while, and by that particular point, you've already lost a bunch of HP. Now, if you are switching every single turn, you're obviously healing back more HP than what you're actually losing if you are running, once you get below like 50% HP. But the makeup and the catch-up just like really isn't there. As you can see on that stage against Morley, we actually use Odin and Toki on the team. Odin and Toki also give a heal with their switch ability, which helps out drastically. Plus their special gives a massive heal as well. As you can see, we use that heal to get back to full HP. That way, before we attack, we can actually take down Morley going through the threshold. Now, the damage reduction, by the way, ignoring effects, has to be before you attack. So say you're at 70% HP, and then you have a full body recovery orbs, and you heal over 85% HP with 4 recovery, and then the last 2 units you're thinking, hey, they're above 85% now, like they should bypass defensive effects. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It has to be before they attack. You have to use a healing special or something like that, and that's where like Odin and Toki work exceptionally well for like this particular team. Upside to Carrot, Neko, Inu is that they do slashes. Any character that's going to boost slashes can automatically use Zoro and Sanji. And that means that they're automatically winning in the game because Zoro and Sanji just makes teams so incredibly broken. They bring something so unique. They make everyone into slashes, obviously, so you can sort of build out the rest of the team with characters that might not be slashes. Like, we have the Luffy on this team here just to satisfy the despair removal that we need on this stage against Kurosawa. Plus, being a fighter character, he's still actually getting buffed underneath Carrot, Neko, Inu. So you're still getting some little bit of buffs there. But utilizing Zoro Sanji just in this way is just, it just makes life so much easier, like so much easier when it comes to building out these particular teams. Now, Carrot, Neko, Inu do bring a very, very interesting mechanic with their special and their super class, which does make them quite unique, and is probably the big draw to the character, alongside that ability to bypass defensive effects. If the enemy has damage reduction, they apply a new buff that gives you an attack boost based on the damage reduction that the enemy has. And if the enemy has a 50% damage reduction buff, this equivalates to a 2.2 times attack boost. So obviously, if it's a 100% damage reduction, which look, it never can be because that'll just be damage nullification. If it's say 99%, this will be sitting at around like a 4.3 times attack boost, which is kind of big. Like, it's a big amount of attack that you can get if the enemy has these damage reduction effects. However, this is only really going to come into play when the enemy has said damage reduction effects. However, the Sulong Cat Dog combination do have the ability to apply a 50% damage reduction to the enemy, so that way you can always get the 2.2 times attack when you are utilizing this character in your big damage teams. However, once you do then apply that damage reduction, you do have to bypass it with their captain ability. So you really have to be mindful of that when you are building out your teams, but this is definitely going to work alongside the captain shift mechanic, because obviously you can then bring them into your captain slot and then utilize them in that particular way. Their super swap is going to put them in their dual form, which does a stronger version of this particular buff. So you stereotypically want to be in the dual form of Carrot, Neko, and Inu when you are using this special. They are giving it a 1.8 times chain boost as well, which is actually pretty good. And they also give a 1.5 times superclass buff to slashes when used their superclass as well. So they can provide a lot of extra damage for the team. And look, I can definitely see them being slid onto the big old slasher team when it comes to damage reduction effects. If the enemy has upwards of 90% damage reduction, you're definitely going to want to bring this, because it's just going to be better than having the damage reduction conversion buff that you can bring on your side that Yamato is so renowned for bringing. So it's very interesting they're going down this particular road when it comes to the amount of damage reduction buff you can get, but obviously that is only going to work when you have a character like this that can bypass those particular effects. Other than that, they don't really provide too much else in their captain ability. Like, they don't have any like utility with bind, special reverse, all of that fun stuff. It's purely just that sort of damage reduction effect that they can bypass that makes them so desirable as a particular captain. But again, because they're a slasher, it does make them very easy to use because you do have characters like Zoro Sanji. Downside to the character is that there's just so many other slasher characters that you're going to want to run as your captain. Like, Odin Kinemon Denjiro now, you have Roger Rally Gaban. Obviously, we have the Shanks that just came out of the game, who's probably the best slasher. You have Anniversary Shanks, 10th Anniversary Shanks, who again is probably still the best slasher captain in the game. And then you can obviously do stuff with Free Spirits, because Zoro Sanji is just so good as well, and just run stuff like Verse Luffy, and all those absolute monster powerhouses like Ace and stuff like that too. So they are sort of in a weird spot with the meta. They're not really going to be a super desirable character. I don't think anyone should chase them. They don't seem as broken as what I thought they would be in PvP. They're very good in PvP, don't get me wrong, but again, they just fall product to the fact that slashes are so good, and that's probably why the character is so good. But finding a home on that slasher team can be a bit problematic too, because there are just so many other better options. So when the content persists and you do have a area where there is like 90% damage reduction above, this character is going to be able to put out numbers. They're definitely going to be able to do damage, and they're definitely going to work on that big old slasher team with the double conditionals that Shanks can provide, the chain shenanigans that Zoro Sanji can provide, and all of those extra conditional buffs that Verse Luffy has and whatnot too. So the amount of stackable buffs we have is kind of crazy. But again, this one is only really going to satisfy the need when the enemy has damage reduction. And on top of that, you will have to have this character become captain. That is going to be really, really tricky for teams when you have all these other crazy captains that are rocking 6.5 times multipliers, and this character's barely even cracking 6 times, I believe. So that, again, is a massive drawback to the unit, needing to become captain to get this damage reduction buff off. If in the future, like, obviously, like, if you have, like, another character like Gear 5, 6-star, with a crazy attack multiplier, maybe there's a Super Sugo that comes out that's a 6.5 times multiplier that can bypass defensive effects, this particular Carrot Neko Inu is going to shine so drastically over there, because you can just keep them as a sub, use their special, crack for defense, making an attack boost for yourself and still be bypassing that. So that definitely can be a lot of fun to do. Obviously, if you are running just regular 6-star Gear 5, like that's definitely going to work out because you can run more fighter-centric teams, being Fighter, Free Spirit, and you can do some fun stuff there. But fighters definitely need a lot of work within what they're working with, and this particular character is pretty much only going to be seen over with slashers, just because slashers are they're just so much better than fighters at the moment. But it is a much needed buff for fighter teams, and now it gives you more options if you ever do really want to run that class. But again, like, why run that when you can run slashers, man? It's just like, why? It makes zero sense at all. If anyone's sitting there going, no, but I'm gonna run fighters. It's like, but why though? Like, are you looking at the lineups we have with these slasher characters? Like, we got Momos, you got Giants, you got Shankses, you got Zoros, like, just Mihawks. The list goes on and on and on of super powerful slasher characters. On top of that, like I said, you throw Free Spirit characters in there, like Free Spirit fighters, which most Luffy's are, and you can sort of hybrid them up really, really nicely that way. So overall, like, they're a fun character. They do work really well, and I do like that they've brought another dimension in terms of damage output with the superclass 1.5 times buff, which is crazy high. But they do have a lot of clashing. They are obviously clashing with the Zoro Sanji chain boost as well. Like, you're going to run Zoro Sanji's chain boost over them 9.9 times out of 10. And that does sort of hold them back a little bit. Upside to the character too is that they do satisfy a super tandem condition for Zoro Sanji. So it is another option to run on that slasher team if you do want more damage when it comes to utilizing Zoro Sanji. And finding another character that can satisfy the super tandem and do stuff there. And then obviously with Oden, Kinemon, Denjiro, allowing you to bypass super tandem abilities with Wano Orbs, like this can be super, super effective. So taking him into Heavenly Demon 2, Revolution Army 2, as we do with these showcases, was super simple. Obviously, we had Zoro Sanji at our disposal, which makes it very, very easy. And whilst, sure, it's more of a Zoro Sanji showcase at that particular point because they're the ones that make it easy, it is a testament to the character that they can actually buff something like Zoro Sanji, being a fighter and a slasher character in their separate forms as well, meaning that you get a lot of effectiveness out of them. And plus, I didn't even use the Super Tandem for this particular run. I just used their crazy switch ability, their special, and what they can do with support potential to take down this particular fight as well against Doflamingo 2. And got it done, no stall, as we do, like I said, for most of these particular showcases. So that's sort of like your generic content. We're going to dive into PK now because I do want to show how much damage output like these characters can provide when put in the right situation. Alright, so this is the team I'm using for PKA level 200 plus, and with this character being a rush unit, they can output a lot of damage. Like I said, they have that 1.5 superclass buff, which is absolutely insane. You hybrid this with like a super type or another superclass as well that's doing 1.2 times. Their damage reduction conversion buff, when the enemy has damage reduction, you can get up to a massive multiplier. And this particular piece of PKA content, the damage reduction is at 90%. So this is like the best position you will see the Neko, Inu, and Carrot in when it comes to damage output. We're obviously using them alongside Oden, Kinemon, Denjiro, and the batch that they came with. This team can do more damage. If I could have got the versatility of Shanks off, we would obviously be doing another like 3 times multiplier on top of this. So this team would actually hit 1 trillion damage, which is actually ridiculous to think about, seeing as the fact that Oden, Kinemon, Denjiro Super Tandem's only level 1. I only have a level 2 rush ability on my Carrot, Neko, and Inu. But the situation has to present itself in the sense that we need that crazy high damage reduction. They are a stage 2 rush, so if you tap with them second as a rush ability, which can work really, really well, obviously, with like Zoro Sanji and whatnot too, because like you can use like Zoro Sanji, tap with them, and then finish the Super Tandem and just have it all synergize really well. But being a normal rush unit means that we're actually going to be able to level up this character's rush, not for free, but like off tickets and stuff like that in the future, which allows you to get a level 5 rush character a lot easier than having to summon on stuff like Anniversary or Super Sugo Fest exclusive. So that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Loads!